Well, hello, friends, and I'd like to invite you to a new webinar with Brian Clark called The Telling of Astrological Time. I am so excited for this one. In reading one of your recent books, Brian, I have Brian with me here today to tell you about the webinar, but in reading one of your recent books, there's a chapter on time, and it was one of my favorite chapters I've read in any astrology book. It was just so poetic and beautiful. So I think who better to give this topic than you? So thanks for joining me today.
Oh,
Can you tell folks a little bit about what you're going to share in the webinar?
well, when I call it the telling of astrological time, what I'm really going to be looking at is more the underlying, perhaps, philosophy or what brings us to time. And so, in a way, I will sort of talk about astrological time being a hybrid of both the qualitative and quantitative nature of time. I think in our study of astrological time, we tend to get caught up in the forecasting of transits and orbs or any type of timing technique. And we get stuck in those linear grooves of astrological time as if they're linear, if the event. And yet there's this qualitative nature to time, which tells us about the emotions of time. It tells us about the kind of psychological images that may also be of time and through time. So it's in this one moment that we're looking at that horoscope where time can become very present, but contains all of the past. And I think astrologers get we get kind of caught up in then trying to see what the future brings rather than staying in the present with the symbol, which then will probably provide some of those images of the future. What do you think?
That's beautiful. Yeah, I think that's a great point. And just orienting to past and future. I mean, astrology helps us do that. I love looking back. I think that's my favorite way to use astrology is to look back and then also to think about the unfolding present in the context of the past and how astrology can lead us into that. But yeah, I love your thoughts on this, and I just can't wait for people to experience this webinar.
So it's interesting, Tony, what you said about time, isn't it? We tend to think about the past as going back, but imagine if we thought about it in terms of the psyche, where it was layers and layers and layers and layers. And so we go down to the past rather than back to the past. And I think that actually astrology helps us understand those deeper layers. One of the quotes I use, probably not in that, but in the time book, is from the Grateful Dead song, Walk in the Sunshine, where they say, you've got to deep six your wristwatch. You got to get rid of your wristwatch. You've got to try to understand that the time it seems to capture is just the movements of its hand. So we're going to be looking at, a lot of the, not just the philosophers, but some of the physicists and some of the poets that help us understand time in a deeper or more fuller way. Because it is that emotional dimension of time that really, I think, is very, very important that we sometimes forget in trying to find the actual event. We forget the emotion and feeling that underlies all of that.
Such a great point. Yeah. Well, for those of you who are interested in that chapter I was talking about, the title of that book is Soul, Symbol, and Imagination. If you'd like to look for that one at your favorite bookseller online. And then also Brian's most recent book is called Astrological Time. So check that one out as well. And if you would like to join us for this webinar, head over to astrologyuniversity.com/events to check out the event calendar, and you'll find the link to this webinar there, The Telling of Astrological Time. If you happen to be joining us after the event's already over, you can just head over to Astrology University and type in Brian Clark's name in the search field, and you'll find all of his offerings at Astrology University, including this one, and you'll be able to just get instant access to the recordings. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Brian, for this short conversation. I hope that it's piqued the curiosity of some folks out there. And I look forward to seeing you again really soon. Thanks, Brian.
Okay. God bless. Thank you, Tom.